Hello students, today our topic is cascading style sheets. So what is CSS, cascading style sheet? So stands for cascading style sheets, and it is used to describe the look and formatting of your HTML document, which is written in a markup language. So a document which is in markup language, you can change the format and look of that page. So this CSS provides an additional feature to your HTML. In HTML, we have less tags, and CSS provides more number of properties and tags. Okay, and it is generally used for to change the style of web pages, which is written in HTML. Okay, CSS is also used with along with HTML and JavaScript in most websites. This is about CSS. And coming to advantages. So what are the advantages of CSS and compare with HTML? So by using CSS, we can solve a big problem. For example, if you take a website with 100 pages, okay? If you want to change a style of a page, which is common for all web pages, you have to change every page, right? So it will take more time. But if you are using CSS, you can change entire website style by modifying a single page. Okay, it is possible with CSS. Okay, so that we can solve a big problem very easily with using CSS. And if you are using CSS, it saves a lot of time. Okay, because the entire website can be changed by changing a single CSS file, and it provides more attributes when compared with CSS. So these are the advantages with, CSS provides more attributes when compared with HTML. Okay, so what are the advantages with CSS? It can solve a big problem, and it can save a lot of time, and it provides more attributes when compared with HTML. Now coming to CSS syntax. Okay, CSS syntax contains a selector. Selector is nothing but any attribute value or any element in the HTML. It may be heading or paragraph or table tag, any tag. Okay, this is the selector. And open bracket, closed bracket. Within this open braces and closed brace, we can have a declaration part. Okay, this declaration part contains a property, okay, and value. Here color is the property and blue is the value. Okay, so this is this is this is the, okay, let me tell you, this is the CSS syntax. Okay, so CSS syntax contains a selector and a declaration block. In this declaration, we have property and value. So you can declare here n number of properties and n number of values. So this is property 1, this is property 2, like that you can declare n number of properties. But all those properties and values must be separated by semicolon. Property and value, these two are separated by colon. Okay, this is the syntax. We can see one example. Okay, now, so the selector points to the HTML element you want to style. This selector is pointing to the HTML element, which element you want to style. The declaration block contains one or more declarations, okay, separated by semicolons. Each declaration includes a CSS property name and value. So this is CSS property and this is the value, and both are separated by a colon. Both are separated by a colon. So multiple CSS declarations are separated with semicolons, and declaration blocks are surrounded by curly braces. So whatever you write in the declaration part, all those things must be in between the open curly brace and closed curly brace. Okay, and the entire thing, whatever you saw here, selector declares, the entire thing must be in between style tags. You have to write this thing within the style tag, then only this will be worked out. Now see the example of one CSS. For example, I want to style my paragraph in my HTML. Okay, so my paragraph element is P, open braces, closed curly brace. I want to change the color and text align. I want to apply these two properties for my paragraph. As we discussed in the syntax, this is the selector and this thing is the declaration block. This is the property and this is the value, property to value to. Okay, now look at this example. All of you know that. So HTML, we want to style HTML, all of you remember that. Okay, HTML open and finally HTML close, head open, head close. You remember you have to write the style tag within the head tag. You have to remember this one. Okay, style tag within the head tag. So in style, I want to style my paragraph. That's why I'm writing P color red text align center. In body, I have two paragraphs here. One paragraph is hello world. Second paragraph is, these paragraphs are styled with CSS. Now after executing this program, these two things will be modified into the red color, and these two sentences must be in the middle of the page, center of the page. The output for this program is this thing. Those are in the middle of the page and with the red color. Do you got my point? This is the way how you use the CSS properties. Okay. Now the next concept is how many types of selectors are there in CSS. Okay. The first one, okay, why selector? The selectors are used to select the content you want to style. So by using selectors, we can select the content, which content we want to style. That content must be selected, can be selected by using CSS selectors. So selectors are part of CSS rule set. These are all the part of the CSS rule set. So we have there are 5 types of selectors. The first one is CSS element selector. Second one is CSS ID selector. Third one, class selector. Fourth one, universal selector. And fifth one, group selector. What is element selector? So by using element selector, we can style a particular element. Okay. For example, in this example, I want to style paragraph. So you have to mention here element name, either it is paragraph or heading or anything. Text align center, color blue. Now, this style will be applied to every paragraph. Okay. This style, text align center and color blue, this entire thing will be applied for any paragraph in that web page. Wherever the p tag is appeared, that paragraph will be modified into this blue color and text align center. Sorry. This is the output. The first paragraph is this style will be applied on every paragraph. Second one is me too. So what is id here? I will explain later. Okay, this is the first selector, element selector. Element selector is used to select a particular element by name. Okay, element name. The next one is CSS id selector. So the id selector select the id attribute of an HTML element to select a specific element. Okay, by using id we can select a specific element of HTML page, and it is id is always unique within the page. Okay, so if you use id selector, you can select a unique element within the page. You can style an unique element. Okay, the id should be right with by using hash character followed by the id of the element. Okay, so hash followed by any name. You can write here any name. Okay, that name may be anything written by you. Okay, you can write any your own name here. You can name your id here. Here I am naming my id as para1. Okay, hash para1. Otherwise you can write hash csc, hash mvzr, or hash something, anything you can write here. Okay, this is my id name here. Same thing, style open, style close, all the so the properties are color blue and text line. Anything you can write here, but the only change difference is id name. I am writing my own id name here. In the previous example we need to use element names, and here our own names, but that id should be applied for any element that should be unique. Now if you are using id for one paragraph, p space id equal to id name is what, para1. Now this paragraph will be changed, but the second paragraph will not be changed because we are not using id here. Okay, now we will see the output. Only the first sentence will be changed, hello java t point. It is in the blue color and center of the page. The second one, this paragraph will not be affected. This statement will not be affected. Okay, but in the previous example both paragraphs are affected. Okay, all paragraphs are affected, whether it is as id or anything, it don't bother about, because we are writing style for paragraph. This will change any paragraph, all the paragraphs in the web page, but here id is unique. The next selector is CSS class selector. Okay, by using class selector we can style a specific element. Okay, the class selector selects HTML elements with a specific class attribute. You can use a class attribute and you can style anything you want. Okay, and the class selector should be right by using a period character. Period character is nothing but dot, that is full stop symbol. In id element we are using hash, but in the case of class selector we are using dot symbol. And remember, a class name should not be started with a number. Your class name should not be started with a number. So the same procedure, style, HTML head style, all are same, but here the only difference is dot your class name. Class name may be anything, and it should not be started with number. Dot center. So this is declaration part, text align and color. Now I can apply my class for any HTML element. So for h1 I am using class, for p also I am using class. Okay, like that you can apply for any element in the HTML. in this space. So both heading and paragraph both will change according to your style. This is my style. Okay, so the first, this is heading is blue and center line, it is changed to the blue and center. This is also changed into the style of our class selector. Now if you want to use your class selector for a particular element, then you need to specify your particular element dot class name. Now in this example, I want to apply my class selector for only paragraphs. Then you need to write your paragraph p dot class name. Now you cannot use your class selector for other elements. Okay, even though you want to use your class for other elements like h1, this will not be affected. Okay, this will not be changed. Okay, only the paragraph p will be changed because we are writing here p dot center. P meant for paragraph. So only paragraph elements will be changed, and other than that elements will not be changed. Okay, this heading is not affected. This will not be affected because this class selector is only used for paragraphs. The paragraph is affected. It, its alignment is center and its color is blue. That is about a class selector. Up to this, we are done with CSS ID selector, element selector, and class selector. The fourth one is universal selector. By using this selector, you can apply a same style to the entire web page. Now, if you want to apply the same style for entire web page, you can simply write a universal selector. The syntax for universal selector is a star, open curly brace, closed curly brace. So the same procedure, HTML head style. Within style, I am writing some properties and values, but with star. Star is meant for universal selector. If you style your page with this universal selector, all the elements in the HTML page will take the same style. Okay, for H2, for P, for ID, for P, anything, all elements will take the same style. That is the meaning of universal selector. So this is the output. So all elements will take as style as color, green, and font size 20 pixels. Okay, I think you know all these things. What is pixels and color, font size, what is HTML tag and header tag, body, H2P. Okay, you're all familiar with all those tags. The last selector is CSS group selector. Okay, why we are using group selector? For example, just imagine I want to use the same style for heading and also heading 2 and also P. Okay, then no need to write the same style for all the elements separately. You can combinedly write all elements at a single place. For example, if I want to apply some style, that is a text align center and color blue for the heading 1. Now the same style I want to apply for the H2 also. Then what we need to write now? For H2 also text align center, color as blue. The same style I want to apply for paragraph also. That's why I'm writing P text align center, color blue. Okay, to reduce the number of lines of code, we can use group selector to reduce the size of the code. H1, H2, P text align center, color blue, because all these elements used same style. That's why I can write here. You can write here H1, H2, P. Okay, this is the advantage with group selector. We can group the similar style elements. So this is example. within style we can write h1 comma h2 comma p, text align center, color blue. So if you execute this program, all the elements h1, h2 and p, wherever the h1 and h2 and p, all these three elements will take the same style. This is the output. Are you clear? I'm repeating again, there are 5 selectors. One is element selector, ID selector, class selector, universal selector, and group selector. Okay, these are the selectors. Before this one, you have to remember what is the syntax of the CSS and example of the CSS. Before that, what is CSS and why CSS and what are the advantages with CSS? Got my point? Now, okay, up to this, how we can style the page is over. The second one is how to add your CSS sheet, CSS into the HTML page. What are the various types of style sheets? Okay, we have 3 types of style sheets. One is inline style sheet. The second one is internal or embedded style sheet. We can call internal style sheet as embedded style sheet. Okay. Third one is external style sheet. Inline, internal or embedded, and third one is external style sheet. So what is inline style sheet? If you change the style of the HTML page within a line or at the element itself, that is called as inline style. The style included within the tag. Okay. For example, if you want to change this paragraph style or some heading style, if you change the style at that tag with that tag is called as inline style. So the style included within the tag is known as inline style sheet. To include style definition within the tag, we see style property. We have to use style property. Okay. Now the syntax for inline style sheet is tag, whatever the tag you can write here, either p or h1 or something, anything, space style equal to, within double quotes you can write properties and values. Okay, property name colon property value semicolon, you can write another property 2 and value 2, property 3 values. After that you can write. Finally we have to close the tag. This is the syntax of inline CSS. Please all of you remember, if you change the style within the tag, okay, is known as inline style sheet. So all of you observe this program, HTML head, title, body. I have 2 paragraphs here, but I want to change this paragraph style. So if you want to change the paragraph style, you can use our old style as element selector. Otherwise, if you want to change the style of the paragraph within that line, within that tag, you can write here p style, font family and font style and color. Font family is Arial, style is italic, color is red. Okay, this paragraph with inline style. The second paragraph is something. This is paragraph without style. This is second paragraph. If you execute this program, the first paragraph will be only affected. The second paragraph will never be affected because this doesn't have any style. Clear? The output for this program is this one. Okay, this is paragraph with inline style. This, the first one will be affected. The color is red, italic, family, Arial. Second paragraph will not be affected because this paragraph doesn't have any style. So this is what you can write inline style sheet for any tags in the HTML page. Okay. So the next one is internal style sheet. Internal style sheet is nothing but, okay, whatever the examples we covered till now, you can take all those examples as internal style sheet except inline style sheet example. Okay, in this the style definitions are enclosed in the style tag, like we discussed in the earlier. Okay, that style should be within the head section. Okay, the style defines with the style tag. Okay, the advantage with internal style is if you define the style at once, the entire page can take the same style. Okay, we can apply the style for within entire page. For example, if you style one paragraph, the all paragraphs within that page can use the same style. Okay, now the syntax for the internal styles. So HTML within head where open style. If you want to mention the type of the style, you can mention here, otherwise no need to mention. Style is nothing but style type is nothing but either text or CSS. So this code is for style definitions like declaration parts. Okay, selector declaration parts. Then we can open body and close body, finally close the HTML. This is the syntax of internal CSS. So we will see the example for internal CSS, that is HTML head. You can specify the title, all of you know that. And style, what is style here? I want to style h1, so I want to modify my h1 as italic and red color and background color as yellow. Okay, style close, head close, body open, h1 an embedded style sheet. P embedded style sheet is a part of HTML document, anything. Okay, now this h1 will be affected because we are writing style for h1 only, we are not writing any style for paragraph. If you are write style out of the body, this thing is called as internal CSS or embedded CSS. The output for this program is an embedded style sheet. It will be in the style which we have defined earlier. That style is italic, red and background yellow. So red, italic and background yellow. The paragraph will not be affected because we are not applying any style for paragraph. This is what about internal CSS or embedded CSS. Clear? Got my point? The first one is inline style sheets and second one is internal or embedded style sheets. The last one is external style sheets. External style sheet is nothing but we can define a complete CSS file. That means we cannot include that CSS in any HTML. Pure CSS file. That means if you define only styles for HTML elements, here I am writing h1 with some style and p1 with some style. Now I can save this entire thing. Now I can save this entire thing as styles.css. Any name you can write. For example, if I save this one at some notepad, okay, now I can save this entire thing by using a name. For example, save as, I can save here uh, within study. I want to save here as some sample dot css. Okay, I am saving this at some place. Now that this entire CSS file you can use into your HTML. You can save this file at anywhere, but you have to link this CSS file with your HTML file. That HTML file should be sorry, very sorry. Okay, whatever the HTML file you want to change, that file can use this CSS file. This is the basic idea about external style sheets. Okay, now coming to the syntax of the external style sheet. Okay, so what is the advantage of the external style sheet? We can define our style sheet at somewhere. The same thing can be applied for any HTML page, but the only thing is you have to link that CSS file to the HTML file. All of you remember, the external style sheet contains purely CSS content only. You have to save that file by using .css extension only. After saving that file, for example, if I write like this, I have to save this file with .css extension only. After saving this file, I can use that file into my HTML page. Now the second part is how to link up that external style sheet into your HTML file. Okay. So what is the advantage with the external style sheet? If you want to change the website or a web page, you cannot change all the pages in your web application. If you change, if you modify anything within the external style, that change should be reflected within all the web pages, whatever the pages used your style sheet. Okay, only to change all pages, we can change a single page so that all the changes will be reflected in the web pages. That is the advantage with style sheet. No need to go for every page and change the content. We can change the content at once, and automatically all the changes will be reflected in the remaining pages which are using external style sheet. Okay, this is what basic idea and advantage with external style sheet. Now the second part is how to link up the external CSS file into the HTML file. For that purpose, we have one tag, that is link tag. By using link tag, we can link up or we can add our external CSS into the HTML CSS. Okay. Now, what are the various attributes available in link tag? Okay. Link tag contains three attributes. Those are rel and type attribute and href attribute. Okay. What it contains? So link tag has a rel attribute, a type attribute, and href attribute. So what it tells us? So rel attribute in link tab, rel attribute will specifies the relationship between the current document and the linked document. For example, I want to change the style of one HTML document by using external CSS document, that is a sample.css, for example, or here style.css, I think. Okay, this is a one external CSS file, that is a style.css. Okay, now rel attribute will tell the relationship between this style.css and HTML, the current document and external CSS. So now I want to modify the style of this HTML page by using this CSS file. Okay, this is our current document and this is external CSS file. In that context, I can explain what is rel attribute and type attribute and href attribute. So rel attribute specifies the relationship between the current document, that is nothing but HTML document, and the linked document, that is CSS document. When using an external style sheet on a web page, this attribute takes the value style sheet. Okay, So the relationship between the current document and linked document is nothing but style sheet. Then type attribute. It specifies the media type of the linked document. So whatever the linked document is there, that thing can be specified by using type. So the type of the linked document will always CSS or text. You can link text type of document also. So the document can contain the textual data or CSS data. Okay, this is the type attribute. Then href attribute. By using this href attribute, we can link that CSS file into the HTML file. So it denotes the name and location of the external style sheet, which is to be used. Clear? Now, so this is the syntax of link tag. Link and rel attribute, it should be style sheet. Type is text. This is text or CSS, and href is the CSS file. File name dot CSS means whatever the file you saved with the CSS, that is the file name here. In our case, what is the CSS file here? Style.css. Okay, whatever the name, or here you can specify the location of the CSS file, the path of the CSS file. Okay, this is the syntax and explanation about link tag. You have to use this tag within the HTML page to link the external CSS file. Clear? So what are the advantages of the external CSS? I already told you. The same style can be used by all of the web pages in your website. So the same style can be used in all the web pages in our website. So you can change the appearance of several pages by just altering the style sheet rather than each individual page. What is the meaning of this point? Rather each individual page. So instead of changing the contents of individual page, we can change the contents of a single page, that is nothing but external CSS. Okay, the style sheet can act as a style template. It can act as external style sheet can act as a template. Okay, a style sheet can import and use styles from other style sheets, making modular development and good reuse. The simple thing is we can reuse the style sheets, or we can import the styles from other style sheets very easily because it is in somewhere. So any style we can import in that style sheet, and that thing can be linked from that file into the HTML file. So we can reuse. Reusability is more in external CSS. Okay, thus the fifth point is reduces the download time by removing the formatting information from the document. We can format the information from the document. So no need to, okay, reduces the download time. The simple advantage is it can reduces the download time. Okay. So these are the advantages with external CSS. So we will see one example for external CSS. Consider, okay, consider the following example. This is external CSS page. The file name of this file is styles.css. Okay, this is styles.css. Now I want to use this file into my HTML. That my HTML page name is test.html. Test.html. So HTML open, head open, title close. Within the head page, you have to link the external CSS file. This is how we can link the external CSS file. So link rel relation is equal to style sheet, type is text or CSS, href is equal to external file name. So what is our external file name? Styles.css. Styles dot sorry styles.css. If both files .css files and .html files are in the same folder or in the same directory, then no need to specify the path of the file here. But if your CSS file is located somewhere and HTML file is located somewhere, then in that case you have to specify the exact path of the CSS file. For example, I have this .css file in the E drive and I have this HTML file in the D drive. Then here I need to specify the complete path of this file here. Okay, both are in the same directory, then no worry about this path. But if they are in different directories, you have to specify the complete path of your CSS file. Okay, then the remaining thing is as usual h1, p1, all those things. Now whatever the styles available in the CSS file, those styles can be used in this body. So what are the styles available in this .css file? We have two styles, one is for h1 and the one is for p1. So whatever the content in this HTML using so wherever the h1 and p, those two things will be reflected, those two things will be affected, because in this external CSS file we have styles for both h1 and p. So wherever we get the h1 and p, those two things must be affected, because these two things are formatted or styled in the external CSS file. Okay, h1 font style is italic, color red, background yellow. For p1, color blue, background yellow, font size 12, and border 1 pixel, solid red. All those things are affected. This is the output. Okay, this is for h1 style and this is for paragraph style. Are you clear? Up to these types of CSS are over. So how many types of CSS are there, and how many ways we can add our CSS content into the HTML page? In three ways. One is inline style sheet, second one is internal or embedded style sheets, third one is external style sheets. Inline, internal. If you write the style within the tag is known as inline style. If you write your style within the head and use the same thing within the page, that is called as internal style sheet. If you write your style at somewhere in one file, and that file should be saved with the .css extension, then you can link that CSS file into your HTML using link tag, then it is called as external CSS. Okay, this is what all about types of CSS. The last point for today's lecture is how to write comments in CSS. Okay, so CSS comments. So what are the advantages with comments? We can describe our program, but those are not executable. So if you want to write single line comments, you can use slash star and star slash. Okay, multiple line comments also you can write by using star slash and, for example, multiple line comments also you can write like this. Like this you can write multiple line comments. Clear? Like same as in C. You can write single line comments like this, multiple line comments like this. Clear? Okay, this is what all about cascading style sheets. I'm repeating again. In the first page, what is CSS and what are the advantages with CSS and syntax of the CSS. That is first part, introduction part. The second part is types of selectors. We have 5 selectors. This is second part. And third part is types of CSS and what are the various ways to add CSS content into the HTML. 3 ways. The last one is how to write comments in the CSS. Okay, thank you.